everybody. I'm going to wait a couple seconds here for people to open up the event. If you could type in the comments section and let me know if you see and hear me okay, everybody. I'm typing hello. Marty joined. Okay, hi Marty. We'll go ahead and wait a couple minutes for other people to join us. So far we have 4 viewers. Cosette, are you viewing?
Yeah.
Okay, hi. Okay,
No,
and
I'm not viewing.
You're not viewing? Okay, you need to go into the event.
Okay.
I'm going to take you off speakerphone while you get it figured out. Give us just a couple seconds, everybody. I'm just waiting for a few more people to join us. It's just 7 o'clock, so hope y'all are doing okay. Okay. Well, when I talk, you'll hear something. Hi from Lyrica in Victory, BC, Canada. Hello, Canada. This is so cool, you guys. Can you hear me okay, Cosette? Okay, I see Coco has joined. Well, we can keep talking. Yeah, so let's go ahead and hang up, but you can text me on my phone if you need anything throughout the hour, okay? Okay, all right, bye. All right, hi everyone. So there has been a lot of anticipation and excitement over Disulfiram. And in talking with my cohort, Cosette, we wanted to put out some things for safety so that people don't get hurt. This is important to know this protocol before you get started, and so that you guys can do this as safely as possible. That is the whole thing that I wanted to do this for. We only have 5 people joining us, so hang tight, you guys. Lyrica, can you see where it says join the event? I just see that you commented on it. We have 6 people joining us. Let's just give it a couple minutes here and wait for a few more people to join us. I'm going to pull our questions up that Cosette and I came up with. I wanted to go over a couple of really important things. Still 6 people. If y'all have any questions that you'd like me to address or Cosette to address, her name on Facebook is Coco Lake, and in case you're not aware, she's a pharmacist, retired pharmacist, and she's been extremely helpful in answering some questions about how this drug works on our Facebook pages. If you're not familiar, oh, hi Lucy. She says there doesn't seem to be any sound, just the video. No, you didn't do anything wrong. I may not have been talking at the moment, but if you still don't have sound while I'm talking, you can see my lips moving, then you should go to your settings and click OK for audio video. Sometimes if you've not done this before, you may have your settings turned off or factory settings turned off for the audio, and you might just see the video. You guys can't see, but I have my Disulfiram shirt on. I feel like this is my Disulfiram uniform. Okay. Cosette, can you type if you can hear and see me okay? Type on the comment section. We have 8 people joining us. Hi, everyone. If you've just joined us, we're just waiting a couple seconds here to get some more people to join us. I'm pulling up some questions that we put together. I was trying to put, oh, good one, Trish. Hi, Trish. I'll get to that in just a sec. Okay. Lyrica, did you get your audio figured out, dear? Can you hear me okay? I feel like I'm talking really loudly too. All right. Okay, we lost one. We have 7 viewers. Just waiting to get a few people joining, but I will. Oh, hi, Marty. Thanks for the question. Oh, Lucy, bomber, still no sound. Let's see. Turn it up. Always think of the obvious and simple first. Check your volume, dear. Turn it up. And then there is usually another volume on your computer. So try that out. This will be saved. The video will be saved after this so that you guys can go back and view it. So if you still don't have audio, Lyrica, then, oh, yay, you can hear me now. Just don't know how to join or what became of the question I'd posted in discussion. Okay. Oh, you put it in discussion. I'm not sure, dear, but can you ask it here in the comment section is what I have planned. I don't want to be bouncing around here. But I'll start with the detox question. And I wanted to use 2 devices so that I can show you guys on my phone where to find those different things. My main point of having this question and answer is so that, okay, yes, it was dark for a little while. Okay, thank you, Cosette. I'm glad you can see everything and hear. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm reading questions. In general, is there an average time people are on and get well? Okay. We have 7 people joined. I'm going to get started pulling up the information that I want to share with you guys first while more people are joining us, and start answering some of these questions that you guys are leaving in the comments. Okay. 71 people posted that they were interested, so they may find the video afterward. That's just fine. Okay, so let me go to the Disulfiram for Lyme group. This is what it looks like. Oh, sorry, the lighting is, there we go. Okay, this is our new banner. Disulfiram for Lyme group is our Facebook page. And then I'm going to show y'all where this post is that I keep referring everybody to. The goal of this video is to get the information out on YouTube. After we do this video, I'm going to save it onto our page, but it'll also be uploaded to YouTube so that it can become a reference for everyone to go to the YouTube or Facebook. Sorry, everything's backwards here for me. There we go. All right. Can y'all see this okay? Let me get it up and close here. I know there's a, all right. So right here, let's see if I can get it. in the announcements is where you will find everything. So I just clicked it, the announcements, and there it is. New Disulfiram friends thinking about Disulfiram, read here. This very first blue is Dr. Kinderlair's video. And then it goes, oh, there we go, on and on and on and on. Sorry, the lighting here. There we go. I mean, it is a huge document. There's the dosing information. If you keep scrolling, you will see information that was shared from Dr. Liegner, and then as well, Cosette, Coco Lake. This talks about herbal tinctures, what to do with a herx, and so on. So again, I went from the Disulfiram page. I'll go back one more time for you guys. I'm on the Disulfiram page. Whoop, sorry. Again, it is all backwards for me here. And then I scrolled just slightly down to where it says see all for the announcements, and I clicked it. And this is one in the announcements, and it says new Disulfiram friends. This is the working document that Cosette and I have been working on to make sure that everybody has a working document to reference. At any time you guys have any questions on herxing or what to do for detoxing, what binders have worked in the past. I'm going to get to some of these things now because there's so much to talk about. Thank you, Cosette. I see you are here. Okay. So now that you guys see where that document is, that is one of the biggest things that I wanted to address today for safety for everybody who is on Disulfiram or thinking about getting on Disulfiram, is please go to that reference and use it as you work through your protocol. But more importantly, make sure that you guys review all of this stuff before you get on the protocol so that you can set your house up and so that you can set up your grocery list, in your pantry, your fridge. All these items are going to need to be replaced with things that are suitable for you to safely work the protocol while you're on Disulfiram so that you avoid alcohol at all costs. I did have one incident where I was, where I had alcohol poisoning. It was horrible. The vomiting is really, really bad. I know that everybody is different. Some people haven't had an issue at all. Some people have been very sensitive. Even going to get your blood work, when they use the alcohol swabs, if you are sensitive to alcohol, ask them to use betadine maybe, something like that. That is a replacement for alcohol. Cosette, if you want to chime in at any time with anything that I say, just, yes, I see that. Share on the comment section here. So the first thing I wanted to do was show you guys where that document is in Facebook. And we had a few things that we wanted to discuss today with you guys. The main thing is safety. And if you guys aren't reviewing this protocol, it's hard to be sure that you have pre-planned and set yourself up for success during this protocol. Okay, so getting to the questions. The first thing is, hi, I see y'all joining me, thank you. Okay, what is a detox method? So again, it is all listed that I've had good luck with in that working document, Trish. If you get into the group and you go into Disulfiram for Lyme group Facebook page, at the very top that I showed you in the announcements, there's I think 3 pages in the announcements. There's 1 page and 2 polls actually. So just bypass the polls and get to that document, and you'll see what the detox methods are that I find personally helpful. Anything that you guys hear in this video is not medical advice, and I'm not recommending Disulfiram. I wanted to get that out of the way so I don't forget. But detox baths are extremely helpful. Lymph brushing, lymph massage, things like that are very, very good. Okay, so Marty asked, what's the best way to find out best milligram and what dosages most do well? Okay, so I'm not a doctor, so I'm not gonna give you guys any recommendations about dosing, so I have to be careful with that. But again, it's in that working document, Marty, that I showed you where it is in my Disulfiram for Lyme group. It's not the support group. There is one in that group at the top of the page. I think it's still in the announcements. And then there's also another one in the Disulfiram for Lyme public page at the top, pinned at the top. The groups, it's in the announcements. So both, you can find milligram and dosing information there. I can just tell you what I safely did. So many people have started Disulfiram, even recommended from their doctor, way too high. And the thing is, guys, we can't be upset with doctors. They just don't know how to do this yet. Prescribing it is just simply writing on a piece of paper is super easy for them. But to know the dosing and so forth is very difficult because this is such a different treatment for Lyme patients than it has been for alcoholics. So you guys have to be patient as the medical community works their way through learning this protocol. So it's going to be different. So Dr. Ligner has had success treating Lyme patients for about 2 years or more now, starting people out at 125 milligrams every 3 days. Dr. Kinderlair, I videoed him not that long ago, and he starts people around 62.5. That's what I started at, and I did pretty well. So I've been on this medication 6 months. I started it in February. I started at 62.5, and I didn't feel a darn thing. I take that back. I could feel a little bit was working in a way that my head felt a little spacey, but I really didn't have any significant herxing, no headaches. I really couldn't tell a big difference. So I did 62.5 every single day for 1 week, and I still didn't feel anything at all. And with it being such a low dose, I went ahead and went up to 125, and I stayed there for 2 solid weeks. So the important thing with this protocol, you guys, is that the metabolites are still working for 14 days. So anyone that I coach, you're welcome to private message me, but I'm putting this video out to hopefully calm some of that down for Cosette and I. We've been very busy taking personal messages and answering questions, and we don't mind doing it, but I'm hoping this video becomes a reference for where this information is found in the support, in the Disulfiram for Lyme group. But you start around 62.5 per Dr. Kinderlair's advisement. And then he does every 3 days. If people are still doing fairly well, do that for 2 weeks, and then maybe increase to 62.5 every 2 days. If you're still doing okay, then maybe 62.5 every 1 day, every day. And then minimum of 2 weeks. You never move up a dose within that 2 week time period to make sure all the metabolites have gotten through your system and into your bloodstream, because I've seen so many people herxing really difficult herxes, and it's a shame because I've done 6 months of this so far, and I've been ultra conservative. I've had very few herxes that have put me in bed or where I haven't been able to function. It's been twice now, and they're easy to head off, is my opinion from my own experience. Starting off very slow and not moving up inside that 2 week time frame. So again, you increase maybe 62.5. So what you might do to help yourselves is to get a bottle. Say, let's just say it's 250 milligrams. That's what I got. That's what the majority of the people do. It does come in other 500 milligram, but most people are being prescribed the 250. But you chop a 250 into quarters. So each quarter now contains 62.5. So then I left the rest of my bottle, half of my bottle, as full 250s for when you start working your way up. I just cut them in halves at that point. So what I did again is 62.5 every day. This is just how I did it. And when I didn't feel anything and 2 weeks had passed, I increased to 125 for 2 weeks. I stayed at 125 for 2 weeks. And then I went up to 250, and that was way too high. I did have some herxing. The herxing wasn't ugly or scary. It was just a little increase in my fibromyalgia, joint pain. My legs ache quite a bit when I'm herxing from a Lyme flare. So that's how I know that it is a herx. And then from there, I went back down to 187.5. So that did me pretty good. So I stayed there for 2 weeks. And then I went up to 250 after that, and I did fine. So then I did that for 2 weeks. And then I went up to, another 62.5 is 312.5. I've done the math several times before, so I know it from the top of my head. And then I stayed there for quite a while, several weeks. And then actually, it was 250 that I stayed at for like 3 weeks. I mean, I just wanted to make sure before I went up that everything was fine. And then it was. So I went up to 312.5. I did that a couple weeks. And then I went to 375 a couple weeks. All in that working document, you guys, you'll see what I did for herxes and then detoxing. So it's super easy to go back to that reference page and see what I did. Okay, so I stayed at 375 for a little while, and then this was, again, it was back in February, March, April, where we didn't have any dosing information from Dr. Liegner. And then he shared with us his dosing information. I had gone to 500 only for 4 days, and it was too much. I'm 140 pounds. 5'9", so I'm tall, but not super, I'm small framed. So that was just too much. So he was generous to help us all along at giving us some, he says, a guesstimate dosing information. And so that's for a 200-pound person. I went back to 375. Actually, when I herxed, I had a little depression, major amounts of herxing symptoms like pain, fibromyalgia, joint pain, a little bit of neuropathy, things like that, where my legs just wouldn't work. My hands, you go to type and they go weak and numb. So that is a neurological herx. I know it very well, and I stopped altogether. So anytime you guys get to a dose that's not manageable at all, you want to stop altogether per Dr. Kinderler or back up. So if I was at 500 or 375, I would back up to 250 or 125 until the herx resolves. Personally, what I did was I stopped it altogether when I got into a bad herx like that. It only happened that one time. But again, I went too high of a dose. So I stayed off until all inflammation settled. That took me almost 6 weeks. So you guys want to make sure that you do move with this drug like a dance per Dr. Kinderler. I really liked that reference because if you get too high, it's too late. So you want to go very conservatively moving up. So again, that is all taken from my personal experience. I'm not making medical suggestions to you guys on dosing. And then again, you can also look at what Dr. Liegner advises in that new Disulfiram Friends Read Here First page on the announcements. And in there, I have a link to Dr. Kinderlehr's video of when Cosette and I interviewed him. He is more conservative. He's even started people at a compounding pharmacy with 25 milligram. So you guys, I want to impress upon everybody that watches this video, completely in your control. If you are have a high burden of pathogens, you are sensitive, you want to make sure that you start at those low doses. And this is the tortoise, I can't say it, turtle, will always beat the hare, kind of an analogy you want to apply. Okay, Lucy, you got your sound. Let's go through here. Lyrica got her sound. I hope you were able to join, Lyrica. Okay, and then back to Marty's questions. Okay, so is there an average time people are on the drug and get well? Yes. So we don't know the mechanism of action yet, so that's really important to note. So we can't say, without that, we need more studies done, that time and dose and duration matter. So that comes from Dr. Liegner, and I just love to pay that forward. Dose and duration matter. So right now, from what we know, the average time people are on it is 60 to 90 days at the core dose. Dr. Kinderlehr calls that the maintenance dose. I'm going to refer to the core dose because that's what I learned and what I know. So the core dose for me and my body weight, per Dr. Liegner's guesstimation, is 375. I will stay at 375 for 60 to 90 days. And Cosette reminded me at one point, we really don't know what is the recommended dose because we still don't really have the studies done to tell us what has put the most amount of people in remission and for how long and at what dose. Again, we know dose and duration matter. I wanted to finish now that we're talking about dosing again. After the 6 weeks that I was herxing, I wanted to make sure that all inflammation was gone. I did go back on. And again, I started around 62.5 and slowly worked my way up to 125, 187.5, 250. Again, moving no sooner than every 2 weeks up on my dose. And then I titrated to my 375 core dose. I just celebrated Friday. 2 days ago, I celebrated my 60 days at core dose. So I'm super excited about that. So I'm feeling really good, you guys. I have very little herxing or side effects or toxicity. Also to note, again, this isn't medical advice, but some of us have started dividing our dose up to keep the blood levels level of disulfiram in the system. So we know that the half-life of disulfiram is 7.3 hours. So we're dividing our doses now. 7 to 8 hours is what I'm doing. And you guys, it's made a really big difference. So those of you who's not doing that, sorry about my dogs. They opened my door, so now you can hear them. And it's really helping with side effects. So we don't know if it's herxing, side effects from the drug, or toxicity from copper or what have you. So again, I love that what Dr. Kinderlehr said, it's a dance. So we want to move with this as easily as possible and as pain-free as possible. All right, so checking that one off. Thank you, Marty. The average, let's see, the comment you're trying to react. Okay. Is there average time people are on? Okay, I did that one. Okay, Tammy says she struggles with detox. I've seen That's a really big word for me, mentioned. Does that help with detox without diminishing its purpose against Lyme? I'm sorry, but that's a really big word for me. I really don't know. Cosette, if you want to go to Tammy Anderson's comment here and address that, I'm sure that Coco Lake will be able to help you with that question. Or when I finish this video, I'll go back and look it up for you. Someone with a little bit more medical background will be able to help you. Okay, Trish, my friend Brenda posted on Disulfiram group about her daughter's dosing and detox. Okay, I'll go at another time and look at that. Cosette says during the duration of effective therapy is not known. That's right. So you guys, we need studies done. And also to note on this video, we are working through a foundation to help fund the research for Disulfiram for Lyme disease. And you can donate at any time to that BioNeomed foundation that I'm sharing everywhere. It is 100% tax deductible. It is patient driven for promoting research for Lyme disease to a lab that's dedicated 40% of their lab to helping Lyme patients find a cure. So big thumbs up for that lab. It is a stellar, stellar lab. Please don't hesitate to share. Even the smallest amount helps and goes a long way. The lab definitely works with large foundations and NIH, so hopefully some of those bigger foundations will support the lab's efforts. They've gotten some already, but we're trying to work in some more because we still don't have a treatment protocol and we still don't have an effective treatment where we know the mechanism of action and we can move forward with dosing. We need preclinical trials and so forth for humans. Okay, so Lyrica says, can you speak to the fact that the conclusion of this study states that our findings indicate that at pharmacologically relevant concentrations may cause an irreversible mitochondrial injury as a result of induction of the MPT permeability transition. I am really concerned about the safety of taking Disulfiram. She hasn't started it yet, especially considering that we already have mitochondrial issues. Okay, so again, this is very in-depth scientific question. I'm going to only speak to what I know. You guys will notice if you guys ask something and I don't respond, I may tag somebody or send it private message. I don't ever comment on things I don't know. So I will definitely leave this one for the experts, but I will address this in the way that I understand. So we definitely have mitochondrial issues, that's for sure. So I like taking a MitoCore. It's a multivitamin that helps mitochondrial function and the health of the mitochondria. That's the name of it. You can get it on Amazon. I buy it at my doctor's office at cost, and it really makes me feel good. It definitely is more suited to people who have mitochondrial issues. So you might check that out. I am starting, let's see, this is Shelby's question. I am starting this med next week. I am still feeling very lost on all the things I need to avoid, vinegar being a tough one. I also wanted to know if you have any suggestions on where I can find alcohol-free makeup as well as all the body care products. I feel so overwhelmed. Well, I'm sending you a big hug, Shelby. There's no reason to feel overwhelmed, especially because you haven't started it yet. That's the importance of planning ahead of time for you to start this protocol, guys. You want to go into that working document in the Disulfiram for Lyme group and open up the announcement section at the very top. And it talks about all of this stuff and how to set your house up for alcohol-free stuff. Again, I've been doing it 6 months now. It becomes a lifestyle of habits. It's a no-brainer after the first month, to be honest. You do know when you go to a restaurant, just order whole food. You can't have anything marinated or sauces. Restaurants are really not the best option on this protocol because it is not the easiest, because you're also asking for a lot of things that's not customary to them. And honestly, they don't put everything on the menu that's in your food. Mainly what I've come into contact with in ordering, for instance, a vegan sandwich, everything was fresh on there except they had some marinated red peppers. I smelled the vinegar from a mile away before I even got it to my mouth, luckily. You are more sensitive on disulfiram, so that you will be able to probably smell this stuff before you get it in your mouth to save you from an unpleasant reaction. But I did take my sandwich up there and they went, no, it's all fresh. And I said, well, the roasted tomatoes look roasted. Did they come in a package? And he said, yes, and he got it, and it did have balsamic vinegar in it. So again, it was very strong smell of vinegar before I got it to my mouth, and it wasn't a problem. But just things like that, just know a lot of things are stored in vinegar. If you go to a restaurant, just be careful and be aware that this is the way they operate. They don't put everything on the menu that's in the how these vegetables, for instance, are shipped and stored in balsamic vinegar marinade or solution. Brenda says, just needed the detoxing page and info again. Okay, I've said it like 4 times. I'm going to say it again. Thank you for asking. For those of us that just joined us, we have some new people joining. The detox information is at Disulfiram for Lyme group. If you scroll all the way to the top of the page, you'll click on Disulfiram for Lyme group. Right at the very bottom of the banner, you'll see announcements. Click that and it'll pop up. It says new to Disulfiram, or new Disulfiram friends, I think is how I worded it. Click on that and you'll be able to get all this information. Cosette says, research should be conducted on the possibility of irreversible mitochondrial damage. This is an old paper that was apparently not followed up on. The duration of therapy is not mentioned in the paper, in contrast to what is used in alcoholics. It mentions the levels where pharmacologically relevant. Pharmacologically relevant. Okay, so thank you, Cosette. We will need research to test blood levels. The MIC and MBCs for Borrelia are already known. It may be the doses usually used for alcoholism are higher than what it is needed to kill Borrelia. Alcoholics take this drug for years with no problem. That's important to note. Reformulation the dose to bypass the stomach acid and achieve higher levels disulfiram without receiving the normally higher levels of metabolites with the alcoholic dose may reduce this adverse effect. There's so much including this problem that is unknown. So again, we need more studies funded to this lab to where they can continue to do their important work. And those donations are to be made at bioneomed.org. I have it posted all over my page, all over the Disulfiram for Lyme page and so forth. Cosette also says depression is likely due to a reduction in normal amounts of norepinephrine. It is very temporary. That's right. When I got up to that super high dose, I told you guys I was pretty depressed. I don't normally have that as an issue in my treatments. I've treated Lyme 7 years. That hasn't been something that's been a problem for me. I also was several years on low-dose naltrexone that really does lift epinephrine, and it does make you feel pretty good. Your mood is lifted, so there's something there, but it helps with pain as well. That's something to talk to your doctors about, guys. The doses and duration of therapy are arbitrarily chosen at this time. That's important to mention again. As I said, Dr. Kindler says this is a dance. Your doctors are learning too, so be patient with the medical community as this is a brand new treatment for Lyme patients. It's just getting out there popular. So that's another reason why I wanted to do this video, because physicians are going after those dosing and the information that's been shared for 68 years off of alcoholism. And that's not working for Lyme patients, because they say start at 500 and then maintain at 250. That's an insanely high dose. Again, the Columbia study is now dropped his from 500 to 250 when they started, if they haven't started already. Still way, way, way too high at 250 milligrams for Lyme patients. That's going to really put a lot of people in bed. You're not going to feel very good starting at 250. I'm pulling up some questions here. Okay, we talked about the mitochondria. Dr. Kindler stated some of his patients on Disulfiram who were already taking antibiotics. As time went on and he was able to increase the Disulfiram, he then backed off on the antibiotics that had been needed before. So a lot of the patients that come to these Lyme doctors or regular doctors that are prescribing Disulfiram are already on several antibiotics for treating things like Bartonella, Borrelia, Babesia, the main Lyme infection and co-infections. And what she's talking about here is important to note, is that you can be on these antibiotics for all these other things and then start Disulfiram at a very, very low dose and titrate up, like I mentioned I did, has worked really well for almost everybody, and then start working down the antibiotics. Again, you want to work with a seasoned Lyme doctor who is used to doing all this stuff. You never want to make sudden changes with high doses of stuff. Lyme is a tricky bug. Okay, so also to note, Dr. Kindler has seen experience with people who have Bartonella. If you start Disulfiram and wean yourself down from the antibiotics, then you can work Lyme and Babesia and some of these main infections first, and then treat the Bartonella after. So what he's found is what my doctor has also talked about, is that Bartonella is a real troublemaker, but it is not that difficult to kill once you get rid of the other infections. I've had some people kick at me a little bit about saying that in some of these Bartonella pages, and what the thing of it is Bartonella is a real booger to get rid of, because a lot of times these people still have a lot of other viruses and Lyme infection that is still kicking. And when you start lessening the burden on the immune system, Bartonella is a lot easier to get to. It's not easy to treat. I'm not saying that. It is a real booger. Okay, I answered as much as possible. The bottom line is more research is needed. Cosette says, I don't know why they did not follow up on this. It is AMP. I don't know what AMP is. She might comment. Okay, she also says it is an important issue for sure. The info available doesn't give enough details to make any assessment. Half-life of Disulfiram is 7.3 plus or minus 1.5 hours. Thank you for that additional information. Okay, more information and studies are needed for that. Okay, yes, we do need more animal studies on this drug. So basically, for some of these newer people that aren't used to Disulfiram yet, in 2016, Bioad, Dr. Rajadis' lab, put together a study of, they tested over 6,000 antibiotics and drugs, and they came up with a top 20 and selected their best 2 that we've been using in Lyme. And the top 2 are azocillin. It's a form of penicillin, but it's not available in the United States. It's very expensive in Europe and it's not even easily found there, but it's $4,000 a month too on top of it, and it's only offered in IV. So they are working on getting that in pill form and available more readily in the United States and other places. The other is, of course, Disulfiram. That's what we're discussing here tonight. And it has cleared 99.8% up to eradicated of Lyme in the mice. He's also had a successful mouse study. I wanted to mention that tonight in this Q&A. His study for those results are in review, and we will be able to read what percentage he was able to eradicate Borrelia in mice as well once that article gets out of review. So I don't know who is in charge of that, but please get that cleared as soon as possible. We would like to know. And then okay, so the next question here, yes, this question is one for the researchers on mitochondrial injury. Thank you, Cosette. Dr. Rajadas will read these questions at some point and either speak to us about answering, or Dr. Liegner maybe. But the researchers are the ones who really need to review some of this stuff. That's an important one for them. Cosette and I will make sure that Dr. Rajada sees that question and we'll get to you on it. So thanks for joining in and asking. Garth Nicholso developed a preparation he claims helps repair mitochondrial injury. It takes months to work, he says, so that's important to note. Thank you, Cosette. Hi, Lori. He was in the tick-borne disease working group. I'm not sure about this year's group. Okay, so foods to avoid. We wanted to talk about some of the things that help you guys be successful during this protocol. It is all in that working page in the announcements, but I'll just talk about some of them briefly. Sauces, desserts, marinated barbecues, Asian food, soy sauce. The only soy sauce I haven't, that I have had good luck in finding, there is literally one out of, I can't tell you how many restaurants I've been to that does not contain vinegar. And that is a gluten-free organic version. So you have to really be careful to read the backs of the bottles, you guys. You can't have any kind of alcohol or any kind of vinegar. Balsamic, white, distilled, it'll make you sick. You don't want to go there. Why no vinegar? Yeah, because that says all this stuff can contain alcohol as well as vinegar. So vinegar acts like an alcohol in the system. So you do not want to even touch it. I wanted to tell you guys briefly, I had, check my time. I had poured some vinegar while on Disulfiram over something, I forget what it was. My son was he needed something done pretty quickly. Anyway, I stood away from the bottle. I poured the bottle in the sink over whatever it was my son had, the need for vinegar. And oh my gosh, I just got a whiff of it and my body rejected it severely. I turned my head. I couldn't breathe. Not one little molecule made me a big aversion to vinegar. Just smelling it, I had it in my hand and my body was like, put it down. So I've never had an aversion to anything like that, but vinegar really did it for me. Okay, yes, Trish, it is in the announcements. Yay, back to you. Okay, so Lyrica responded to Cosette there. Yes, he will, Dr. Rajadas will more than likely read this. We'll make sure to ask him that question. Marty asked, can I share improvements that I've noticed? Okay, this is always a tricky one for me to answer this question for patients. I've had Lyme disease for 32 years. I've had seizures. I was bedbound on and off. Really sick with things like Epstein-Barr and strep besides lots of co-infections, Borrelia, Rickettsia, Ehrlichia, all this stuff. So when you talk about improvements on Disulfiram, I don't feel good on Disulfiram. I don't know if it's my gene mutations. I don't know if it's a sulfur thing. But dividing up the doses, I feel a lot better than when I didn't, and I just took one pill at night for my dose. But improvements, I can just say briefly, I don't have neuropathy anymore. I had a short spell of it while treating, because I don't know if you guys are long-term Lyme patients or not, but when you go to treat Lyme disease, you retrace some of those old symptoms. That happens on Disulfiram as well. So neuropathy, where my legs just wouldn't work because I couldn't feel them, or they would just be weak, and you'd kind of stand up and it's just rote memory to start walking. Well, when your legs don't work, you don't go. So it's a weird feeling, but I had just a very short, maybe a couple days, where I was having trouble walking. You kind of hold on to furniture, you kind of cope how you're used to doing that if that's an ongoing issue for you, but that's gone. I don't have any of that neuropathy anymore. I do know some people have difficulty with neuropathy, the burning and the, what do they call it, tingling, pins and needles, I think. Mine was numbness and weakness. That went away. Also, I have a lot of eye stuff. That's real common for Lyme patients. This is to Marty's. I'll like it right here so you guys can see where I'm at. Shared improvements. The eye stuff completely went away. This isn't a miracle drug. It is not the silver bullet, as Dr. Rogers refers to. In a certain time frame, I want to say, things come and go as you're retracing symptoms, but we sure hope after we get more funding for the lab to continue to do these really important trials for neuropathy, especially in some of these other side effects that we're seeing on this, that we know better how to get through this protocol with the least amount of side effects as possible. But this optic issue, it got so bad, you guys, from, I guess, Lyme in my eye. I'm not quite sure. It's not like I can have endless amounts of money to test for every single thing that you feel as a Lyme patient. Nobody has that kind of time or money. But basically, it got so bad, I would talk to people and I'd literally have to just hold my eye because it would just buzz and jitter and drive me completely crazy. It's so annoying. And I was also thinking, I think the other person can see it doing that dance, and it was super embarrassing. But it was that bad at times for months and months and months. When I took Bisalts or Alka-Seltzer Gold, it would go away, but then it'd come right back. So that's one of my improvements I can say I've noticed on Disulfiram, is that completely went away. And then about a week ago at my core dose, maybe 2 weeks now, I guess, on 375, it came back. But then I was also getting real blurred vision for 2 days. There was one day that I didn't feel comfortable driving. That's something to note as a caregiver or a Lyme patient. Once you guys start going through these treatments, you really want to be safe. Make sure, my first Lyme doctor told me, if you can't walk, you can't drive. So I always listen to dear old Dr. Wilson. If my eyes weren't working right, I couldn't drive. But this was totally different, you guys. I've just had my eye appointment a couple months ago, and my prescription has not changed. My eyes are just fine. This isn't a vision thing. I wore my glasses, didn't help. It's just very blurry, and it was from a whole perspective, not like left eye was a little more blurry than the right. I can't explain it. It was things were real blurry. It was difficult to watch television. Reading was impossible. Putting on my eyeglasses didn't help at all. So it was just an overall eye thing. That got better. Let's see. Before I started Disulfiram, I was pretty close to remission, you guys, last year. I didn't have any pain. I felt awesome. I had great energy. And then I started getting a little bit of the neuropathy and a little bit of Lyme symptoms coming back, and I did not hesitate to start a Lyme treatment. And Disulfiram was starting to be used by some of my friends that I really trust. I did my homework on it. It's 68-year-old drug, low risk, well tolerated type of drug. So I didn't hesitate to give it a shot. Again, it's low risk profile with sorry, I'm reading as I go here, with very few rare serious side effects. So I decided to use that as my 5th aggressive treatment that I've done in 7 years. I'm super glad that I did, but I don't feel good on Disulfiram, guys. I don't know why. I feel really good. I don't mean that I feel bad on it. I just, before I started Disulfiram, I was feeling pretty awesome. I had lots of energy, which is so rare for Lyme patients, but I did, you guys. I was super close to remission. I don't toss that word around very quickly, but I would say if I were close at all, it was last year. And then I started Disulfiram, and I'm going to go the distance to be at the core dose. For me, it's 375 for the 90 days. Also, I wanted to note that I called Walgreens today. My drug has been on back order, like a lot of you have talked about in the groups. I called, and it took like 5 minutes. She called me right back. She goes, okay, you can pick it up tomorrow. And I went, what? Oh my gosh. So what she did was she just called the other Walgreens locations. They had it in stock, not a big deal. So you guys might want to call your pharmacies and have them call their other locations. It may not be as big of a deal as we think it is. So I'll be able to pick that up tomorrow and go the distance. I have energy again. One thing through this protocol you guys will notice, whoever is going to do it or doing it, is, man, you sleep a ton. That's totally normal. It's a side effect, but also your body is going through a whole lot of healing. It is a broad spectrum approach at Lyme treatment. So remember, this thing is a vermicide, and it covers, it goes after Babesia, Borrelia. We think it might go after viruses too, but again, we won't know exactly until the studies are done and we get the information out that can tell us for sure. But it's broad spectrum, we do know that. And it goes after Lyme and Babesia very, very well, per Dr. Kindler and my own experience. So just give yourselves lots of patience and TLC through this protocol. It's not easy because of the herxing and the side effects. Dividing the doses has helped me, but that's not written in stone by anyone. So please talk to your doctors, especially on dosing. Super important that you review our post and announcements on dosing before you even ask from your doctor. You guys know how this Lyme story goes. Sometimes we're more educated than our doctors. They're just a little behind on this stuff, and Disulfiram protocol is no different. So educate yourselves before you get yourself in a bad way. That's my main thing. I wanted to do this video tonight with you guys because that is co-hosting, and that's why you see her commenting a whole lot here because she's trying to answer y'all's questions. And I was hoping to bring her on as a split screen, but I don't know if Facebook stopped bringing on multiple presenters, but I wasn't able to figure it out. I didn't see how to do it. I messed with it on and off all day. So sorry, I was hoping to be able to do that. That's why she's commenting a lot, because she's co-hosting. Again, she's a retired pharmacist, so super helpful in answering some of this information about how the drug works. So, okay, so that's a response to her. Depression is not necessarily likely, but it does occur. It is probably from the lowering of norepinephrine. I read that already, but just in case you've just joined us. Okay. Okay, so you can't back off in the dose of antibiotics, but you can withdraw one antibiotic at a time. So again, that's going to be a dance between adjusting the drugs with your doctor. Hopefully you have somebody who is well-versed in Lyme helping you with this stuff, but Disulfiram is even new to LLMDs. Cosette, could you comment on getting your papers to ILADS first? And then I don't want to just start talking about that. So if you could comment on that, then I will. The one antibacterial that cannot be given with Disulfiram is Flagyl or others in that class. Those are definitely contraindicated. I get a lot of questions, as does Cosette, I'm sure, on can I take this with Disulfiram? I don't know. Drugs.com does though, and they're very knowledgeable and it's very accessible. All you patients who have drug questions, please go look there first. I'm not a doctor. I don't give medical advice, but I can steer you in the right direction, and I'm hoping to head off a lot of questions in the future about Disulfiram and how to successfully get through this protocol by talking about some of this stuff that will go in this video and on YouTube so that a lot of people can access this as a working reference. So that's where to go about drug interactions. What other labs should be done for co-infections? Well, that's a tricky question, Trish. I try not to talk about quackery on line or on something that's going to document me like this video, but I can tell you what's worked for me, and I really don't care if people think it's quackery. They're not funding this. I am for 5 Lyme patients. So what I can tell you is Galaxy is great for Bartonella. LabCorp and Quest are not very good for testing for Lyme and co-infections, but IGeneX and DNA Connections is. These aren't things that I'm recommending to you guys. These are the suggestions from a patient. That's it. But as far as the quackery comment, let me talk about that. So IGeneX, I think, is $495 and DNA Connections is $650. So sometimes these may be out of reach for Lyme patients. Most Lyme patients are broke. We have to pay for all of our treatments out of pocket. I've had pretty good luck. When I first started, my husband was working with a large corporation. We had pretty good luck getting a lot of stuff covered, but a lot of patients don't have that luxury. And some of them aren't even able to work and on disability. I do know one young lady who got Lyme as a baby at 1.5, and she has no Social Security income to tap into because she's been so sick she's never been able to work. So some of this stuff we need to take into account in helping this community. One of the things that has worked for me is electrodermal screening. It's subjective to the skill set of the person that is the practitioner doing your test. Electrodermal screening works on the Chinese meridian system. It is very old, but it applies a frequency method. It sounds total quackery, but again, as a Lyme patient, we have such little options available to us. Sometimes this stuff is more accessible. And for somebody who's done everything, that has been the best for me and my family. It cost $130. It's an 1.5-hour visit, and it will tell you every single thing that's going on in your system. And it's not 100%, but I have compared it to my labs for my blood work, and it's been spot on almost every time. So again, it matters who's doing the test and how good that practitioner is. But from there, I've been able to, for my kids, because I'm on Disulfiram now. In the past, though, we've all gotten those results. It tells you what main infections are going on and what minor infections are going on. And it can even send frequency back into the system. And then she prescribes things like homeopathy, supplements, and herbs, and works with my doctor. But I think my doctor is exceptional, and most probably don't utilize this tool. That's all it is, you guys. I'm not saying it's golden like astrology. Some people live their life by this stuff. I don't. I take it as a tool along with other testing and utilize it for what it's worth. So electrodermal screening, very inexpensive, but you go back to get tested again after maybe 3 months if you're pretty sick and see what's changed. And you'll see things falling off the list, and you'll be able to move on to the next red flag, so to speak, of what to work on. Okay, what other labs? Borrelia positive, but symptoms of Bart and Babesia. Okay, so again, Disulfiram is very, very good at dealing with some of these, others not. Yeah, azoxystrobin is not available. Disulfiram is thought to be active against Babesia. Yes. Does mold toxicity need to be treated first? Okay, so talking through a lot of this stuff with different doctors as well as Cosette, we do think it's most beneficial to do the mold protocol and heavy metals, things like that, before you get on Disulfiram. So if you're super sensitive, high burden, I would, I can't talk about what I would tell you to do, but I would listen to Dr. Kindler, who says a lot of this stuff he treats first. So work on detoxing for a couple of weeks, work on chelation for heavy metals, mold toxicity. I know my doctor prescribed me cholestyramine for getting rid of mycotoxins and mold. So again, these are things that need to be dealt with before. You also want to have your homes checked at some point, guys, if you're a Lyme patient, and do remediation. Before you get on Disulfiram or with Lyme treatment, you definitely want to make sure that when you go through these treatments, you're not going to be susceptible to a home that's still full of mold. You want to work your home nice and clean. In my home, I have done mold remediation 3 times. So definitely something to not take for granted. It will make you very, very sick. Does fluconazole also not be avoided with DSF? Okay, so in the interview that I did with, who was that? Kinderler, I said that I didn't realize it, but I had a big candida flare. It wasn't. So I think the rash I was experiencing was from the drug Disulfiram. It wasn't super annoying for me to stop, but I thought it was candida. It wasn't. As far as dealing with candida, he does do fluconazole or nystatin in conjunction with Disulfiram, so it's possible. But again, I'm not recommending that. I'm just a patient. So, hi Lou, thanks for the question. We think that Disulfiram attacks Candida. We don't know to what extent, and 100% we don't know for sure until that study's done. So this is only an option about mold. The presence of Borrelia revs up the immune system to be hypersensitive to many chemicals, including those mold. That's important to note. I started, well, as far as mold is concerned, I remediated my house. I worked the cholestyramine to get it out of my system, and then I was still having some itchy red dots here and there, itchy skin showing up a little bit on my neck. even past working a Candida protocol. So I have started the MCAS protocol that iLads put out. Again, I'm not recommending this to you guys, but it is very simply Claritin and Pepcid AC. Also vitamin C, but Dr. Kindler does not recommend vitamin C on disulfiram because it does provide killing action. Again, just for a second here, he never recommends more interventions than one at a time on disulfiram. So you would not start, say, ozone, steam, sauna while you're on disulfiram if you're already not used to that. This is very, very strong. I want everybody to realize that it will just flatten you. It's very, very strong before you know it. So plan ahead for this protocol, please. We want to make sure that this can be a safe protocol for everybody before they start to read those dosing information, how to do this protocol before you start it, and then how to set your house and your routine, basically your habits, up safely before you start. Because it says here, if the highly antigenic Borrelia is eradicated, the immune system would be expected to eventually calm down. This is not a proven fact, but other chronic infections that have induced an immune system reaction often abate ER time. That might be a typo, guys. I'm not sure. Once the infection is cleared, I think what she's saying here is the immune system will calm down once the infection is cleared. No guarantees with Borrelia. One example of an autoimmune disorder that stops causing more damage is rheumatic heart fever. People must do the recommended lab tests, watch for symptoms, and keep in close contact with your doctors. That's very important. Thanks, Cosette. You definitely want to have a physician on hand when you're doing disulfiram. You want to check your liver function and CBC with differential and whatever else they recommend, he or she, every few weeks. I have only over 6 months had my liver enzymes go slightly up. One time, even after 6 months on and off this protocol, I just had my labs come back perfect. Thank you, Jesus. People must do the recommended labs. Watch out for symptoms. Yes, keep in close contact with your doctors. I lost my place here in the comment section. So if something were to happen to me and I don't have a doctor and I'm using an online pharmacy, for instance, that could be bad. You might be subject to an ER visit at that point. You want to have a doctor on that you are in close contact with in case you need other prescriptions ordered, or if by God you need to go to the ER or something like that. You need to have a doctor who's used to caring for you. Most doctors aren't Lyme doctors and aren't used to prescribing disulfiram for Lyme patients. So again, you want to do your homework first before you start this protocol. How do you know your core dose? That's a good question, Nancy. That answer to that is found in the announcements of the Disulfiram for Lyme group Facebook page. I have put together a really extensive, you guys will see and laugh, super, super long, because it's been a working documentation of dosing. It goes off of your weight. So it's not like an alcoholic might be at 250 milligrams for years and years and years, or 500 or whatever. It's not like that for a Lyme patient at all. So you titrate up very slowly. You want to repeat to yourself throughout this protocol, low and slow. That's been our motto. That's been very successful. The people who have gone fast with this protocol, you guys, I liken it to a train wreck waiting to happen if it already hasn't. We now have over 7,000 people in our Lyme groups for disulfiram, the Disulfiram for Lyme groups. And I can tell you, I admin 2 of those groups, and I'm in the other one that I used to admin for, the big one. man, a lot of people not realizing how strong this drug is until it's too late. And I really did this video for the new people, especially, to hear me loud and clear when I say, please read about this protocol first. It is not an easy protocol, but dividing the doses up has helped. But again, it's not written in stone that that's going to work for everybody or why it does. And then setting up your house. Some people are even sensitive to hand sanitizer. The alcohol in it makes you sick. You have to change. I did not, and I don't have sensitivities to it, but shampoo and conditioner, anything you put on your skin that has alcohol in it, makes some people really sick, you guys. So again, work this protocol before you work it. Go through everything. See what, again, like condiments are notorious. Sauces that you get at a restaurant, they all have some type of vinegar or alcohol in it. Tinctures, herbals, all that stuff. Oh, we don't own stock in this company. A lot of people think that we're pushing this drug because we're making money off of it. I'm not selling this drug. I'm not selling this lab. I might seem like I am. I'm heck bent on getting this information out to the public because I have been an advocate for 3 years. I have talked to a lot of moms and a lot of patients, desperate and terrified. Lyme is one of the most horrific diseases that it has been. Our friend Jenna Luche there has either gotten it, I guess, formally accepted, but it's the World Health Organization, I guess you could say, classifies it as torture. But Jenna Luche there is a human rights activist, and she has done extensive work with the World Health Organization, and it is known as torture. So we want to try to head off this protocol as before people get on it, to set your life up for an easy go at this. It's very, very strong, and don't take that for granted, because you can get yourself into trouble and then it's too late and then you're in bed or worse and people have a nightmare. It's terrible to see there's these train wrecks. We want to try and head some of this stuff off. But yes, we do not own stock in this drug. I have this printed on my t-shirt because we're trying to get this drug out there in awareness that so far, this is our best case scenario. I'm not saying this is the cure. I'm not making money off of this in any way, shape, or form, and neither is Cosette or Jenna or anybody pushing Disulfiram. This is strictly from an advocacy standpoint. We have nothing else. This is a very cheap medication. It is well tolerated for the most part. If we had every single Lyme patient go slow on this protocol and low, you would have seen a lot less train wrecks posted about people going too fast, too high doses, too soon. Things would have been probably a lot less side effects stated on these Facebook groups. Not probably, I can guarantee that, because I have adminned now 3 groups. I still do 2, one more actively than the other. But yes, so the Disulfiram papers are being written with Dr. Lugner and Cosette. I'm one of the editors with Jenna and Dr. Wilson, who is the president of iLab's Educational Foundation. So it is going to be a working reference, a very good one. I think she's up to 25 pages now because of all of the references. This is going to go first to the iLab's doctors first, so doctors can be well versed in dealing with patients on this protocol first, and then it'll go to patients. So eventually you guys will be able to find the Disulfiram papers in the announcements on our Facebook group. So won't that be nice? But for now, we have a really great working one. It's informal, but I put it together from the doctors and Cosette and my own working experience. So yes, the Disulfiram papers are going to be outstanding for you guys. I've put a lot of the information that's in them in that working document and announcement, so don't hesitate. Please go work that like your Bible for now. And eventually we'll have a really nice one for your doctors first and then patients. Have to get reviewed. Yes, so it has to get reviewed through medical bodies first, and then out of editing, and then it will go to ILADS. And she stated here, if you guys are reading these comments, she's on her last section. So yay, thank you so much, Cosette. You guys, she has dedicated, Cosette, 6 months, I think, on these papers. It has been a real thorn. She's a pharmacist. She's not a medical publicist or reviewer for these types of papers. So thank you so much, Cosette and Jenna. Dr. Liedner, I want to say big thank you to him. And of course, Revi and Dr. Regidus and your team at Stanford. Y'all are outstanding. Thank you so much for all your hard work. Just a couple more questions here. I think we're coming close. Oh my goodness, I've gone over my time. It is hard to tell when to lower the antibiotics, when to start. Still feeling some action with DSF. So again, that's a dance to do with your doctor. Dr. Kindler says that when you get on Disulfiram, you start really, really low and slow. And then eventually working through communicating with your doctor, you can start lowering down one antibiotic at a time, maybe, from what Cosette says on here, while you're working your Disulfiram, titrating it up. So again, Disulfiram, super, super strong, guys. Don't underestimate that. It will do the job. From what I've seen in my personal experience, I can't speak 100% or concrete information until we get those studies out, but it's really worked very well for me over 6 months. But I'm not sleeping like crazy anymore. So those things are improving. But most people really feel amazing. Some are saying when they get off, after a few weeks of being off this protocol is when they feel their best. So I'm still on it. So when y'all ask me what's gotten better, I can note like my eyes, energy, what else? I can feel things are working through my body. Like you have retracing symptoms going on. So things come back that haven't bothered me in a long time. And then it gets better. So I'm hoping once I get off, November 24th will be my date that I have set as a goal. That is my 90 days on my core dose of 375. You will see me on Facebook celebrating that. Armin Labs is a very good lab for the people who are asking about labs. You have to send the sample out at the beginning of the week, she states. Thanks, Cosette. Lyme is still a clinical diagnosis according to the CDC, meaning a lot of people have negative blood work, but still show signs of a Lyme, active Lyme, or tick-borne illness infection. That's important to note. It is a clinical diagnosis. To work with a Lyme literate doctor, definitely use those great labs like Armin Labs and Galaxy for Bartonella, IGeneX and DNA Connections, but most of the time they're very, very sensitive. Some are indirect, some are direct testing, but again, it's still a clinical diagnosis until we get really more advanced testing is very much so a need in the Lyme community. Binders given during Disulfiram therapy may interfere with the absorption, so talk this over with your doctor. Cosette mentioned that at the beginning of my therapy, so I stopped taking my binders. I have limited my detoxing to mainly my detox baths and supplements. I'm really, guys, I'm keeping things very, very simple. Least is best right now in Disulfiram so that I know what it's doing, what it's capable of, what it's not. One of the main adverse reactions to Disulfiram is dermatological acne. That's really been an issue for a few people, but yes, she's mentioning that because I mentioned my rashes. They're really itchy. So I don't know if you guys can see, but I'm a little bit red here. I was getting them a little bit under my arms. I did the Candida protocol, working my diet, skin allergy testing, stuff like that. None of it really helped. So it's really, truthfully, I think just a side effect of the medication, in which it's not horrible. But if you need to stop or back up a dose, guys, this is a dance. You have to really be aware and go internal and just treat yourself with TLC on this protocol, because it's tough, but you do want to pay attention and work with your body. It is a dance. iLads was also talking about using quercetin for mast cell activation. Thanks, Cosette. So again, going back to that, mast cell activation helps lower histamine in the body, which can lower inflammation so that we can lessen the burden in our system so that we're more able to heal and fight these infections. Those are going to be your quercetin, Pepsid AC, and Claritin. While on Disulfiram, Dr. Kindler again does not recommend vitamin C because it is a killer. You want to just stick with very little supplements and any medication that you absolutely don't need. You want to get rid of all of it. So again, it's a very strong medication. Weight, tolerability, and lab results will determine your dose. That's right. Again, it's all in the working paper in the announcements of Disulfiram for Lyme group, the top of the page. Click announcements and you'll find that page we keep talking about. Eventually, we will hopefully get research to guide dosing and also the availability of blood levels. Stevia liquid at Trader Joe's has alcohol in it. I have found stevia at Sprouts that does not have alcohol in it. So everything in my home has been replaced with alcohol-free stuff. Elderberry, sambucus, all of this stuff that I use, guys, I don't know the difference whether I'm on Disulfiram or not anymore because I've been on it so long, 6 months, I've really worked my way through replacing a lot of the items in my house with alcohol-free stuff. So you can do it. This isn't a big deal, guys. It's not terrifying getting on Disulfiram. It's not a big, scary, hairy monster. It's not. You just have to prepare ahead of time. That is my biggest stressor for safety for you guys out there watching this video. Please do your due diligence. Don't just pop one of these pills and think you're going to rid yourself of Lyme. It's not easy. It doesn't work like that. The lab, and nobody in the lab has never asked us to do anything. The lab. Sorry, because I don't know what that refers to. Our interest is to get the research patients need. We are mothers and patients who want ourselves and our kids and others to be cured. So yeah, the reason why we're advocating so hard for Disulfiram is because we're just moms and patients. There's nothing else better out there right now. There's just not. If there's a better drug next year, you'll see it on my t-shirt. There's nothing better right now. So that's why we're pushing so hard for Disulfiram, is because we want to get this information out that it is cheap, it's effective, very effective, and there's nothing better right now. So again, we don't have any monetary, we're not making money off of this, guys. It's just a patient and a mom doing this work. Thank you. You're welcome, Lyrica. Patients are witnessing how drug therapies and protocols are developed. Yes, we are. This is a patient-led, I keep saying revolution, but there's no guns at the end to really use that term. This is a patient-driven, Cosette, what's the word I'm looking for? Patient-driven, yeah, I'm on Disulfiram. My brain is not working well. We're witnessing how the protocols are developed through how patients are coming and going with this therapy. So lots of starts and stops, doses way too high are common historically. Disulfiram was once dosed up to 3,000 milligrams Years ago for alcoholics, we need more animal studies, which are routinely conducted first before patients just start taking medication. We're quite honestly doing this backwards, but again, we don't have any better treatment protocol to date. So enough with these studies of how this disease affects people. We need treatments that work. So we're leading the way here. We need more animal studies. Yes, these studies were not done to test the efficacy of the IDSA recommended treatments. That's true. Instead, they went straight to human studies and then continue to do them to prove the treatments that failed did not accomplish anything better when they were repeated. That's very important. In psychiatry, you are, treating the brain. One change at a time is routine, since you have to sit back and wait for the result. With Lyme neuroborreliosis, you are treating the brain and the response will also be delayed. So be aware of that, guys, as you're treating. Remember, Lyme is a brain infection. So the response and assessment of treatment of well-entrenched Borrelia also needs patience. That's really important. Thank you, Cosette. And maybe simplicity. Yes, that's what I was saying. Keep it so simple, guys. Simplify your schedules, too. I noticed today I had a little coffee this morning. I was doing a garage sale. I was so irritable. Kept seeing my boys butts down, feet up, and it was just irritating the crap out of me. I don't stand very well for laziness when the rest of us are working circles around these people. I realized, ooh, this is irritability, Christina. So I was really irritable today because I drank a little more coffee. Not that I normally do, but it really affected me today. So of course I had to become more aware of why I was behaving like that. It's the Disulfiram, it's the caffeine. You can still have caffeine, guys, but just know you might get irritable and you won't realize it until after you're yelling at everybody around you going, why aren't you doing more, kind of stuff. But these teenagers need to be doing it anyway. So what are your favorite beverages? Okay, let's see. So I did a little bit of organic light roast coffee in the morning. Mycotoxins is a big deal with coffee, so I really try to make that simple and making good, well thought out, educated choices. I drink lemon water, you guys. That's what you see me drinking here. This is what I drink the majority throughout the day, all day long. I don't buy, I'm big on not buying trash. So I don't buy a lot of bottled products or, sorry, I'm getting messaged here left and right on my phone as well as we're doing this, but bottled waters or soda cans or stuff like that. So I make big jugs of it in my fridge, or I just keep the real lemon or something like that I buy at Sam's Club in bulk, where my kids and us will just go through the day and get filtered water from our fridge system. Has a really nice filtration system in it that gets out fluoride and all that stuff. And then I just keep adding lemon. I don't use ice or anything like that. It's real simple. I just really try to keep things simple, guys. It's the easiest way to go on yourself. Lyme is a tough gig. So try to keep things simple through this protocol. Your fridge, all of it. Keep it simple. What are your favorite? Okay, let's see. Beverages, I discussed that. I don't do a lot of juice and stuff like that. Try to keep my sugar stuff real simple. With stevia is really what I use the majority of the time. You're very welcome. Oh, thank you so much, Melita. You're very welcome. I'm a mom. I have 4 Lyme kids at home, and I've been treating this monster 7 years. So that's my MO, guys. There's nothing more to the story. It is simply just that I'm a mom, and my heart goes out to all you other parents at home who are treating your daughters or your kids, and you don't have doctors that can help you. This is why I did this video. The BioAd lab has never solicited any money from us. We contacted them. That's right, because I did mention that lab. This is the lab that is really doing the most work for Lyme patients right now, in my opinion. So I want to make sure that it is clearly stated that no one has been soliciting money from anybody. This is a patient-driven fund foundation that we are working through that is not affiliated with Stanford. However, Friends of Dr. Rajada set up a foundation, and I sought them asking for some sort of foundation that I can help fund this Disulfiram research for Lyme disease. So that's very important. Thanks, Cosette. Nobody is soliciting funds for Stanford online. That's not what is going on. Asking them many questions and taking up. Okay, the drug is already approved as being relatively safe. It is different when research is being done on a new drug. Caffeine is not metabolized as quickly. Don't drink it as late as usual. Earlier in the day is what she's saying. That's so true. Since it will hang on longer and keep you up, it is not contraindicated with Disulfiram. It's not. I still do a little bit of coffee every morning, but that's pretty much it. If there's any more questions, guys, I'm going to end this, so post them in the comments section. In case anyone wonders, we each pay our own expenses. That's right. Nobody funds us. Anytime you see us going to conferences or anything, that comes out of our grocery funds. No, I'm just kidding. That comes out of our personal stash, and that is not being funded to us by anyone. We had to dig to even find out about the foundation. That's really important to note. I was searching high and long for how to help move forward this research for Disulfiram for Lyme disease, and I just asked a lot of questions. I called around and found this foundation. It gets to the lab faster. This donations, any donations that you guys take, offer. What else do I want to say? Oh, the donations are all 100% tax deductible, and 97% of the funds go to fund Disulfiram for research at bioneomed.org. And we are not doing this video, Cosette and I, to solicit funds for that foundation or for any other reason, or to make medical advice for patients. That is between you and your doctor. This is just a question and answer to help patients set their lives up to get on this protocol so that it is a safe one and an enjoyable one. You guys need to be available to carpool and help your families at home and stuff. So I want to see you guys healing and getting out of bed and back to work. That's all our goal. So I just wanted to, Cosette and I wanted to get this video up and on YouTube and Facebook so that y'all had a reference to help you guys get through this protocol successfully. I've done it. Lots of other people have done it. I do feel really great, guys. I'm not saying it's the cure or the silver bullet, but it's the best we have right now. So I'm sorry for going over a little bit more on your time, but this has been fun. I hope you guys have all gotten something out of this video. For all of those of you that have joined in this event, we might do some of these again in the future. Just ask on our page at Disulfiram for Lyme. There's a public page, or on our Disulfiram for Lyme group. You have to join, request to join that to be a member, and answer the questions. If you don't answer the questions, guys, we won't let you in. It's clear and simple. That's our liability, that you understand our rules. And that's pretty much it. I think I've covered everything, you guys. And heal on. You guys can heal. I have had a terrible time healing from Lyme. It is one of the worst hidden diseases that I've ever seen. It's horrible. But again, you guys, I'm back to working out. I do feel great. So it is possible for you too. So don't give up. Keep working at this, and I'll keep praying for all of you guys. I do every day. I love y'all so much. And I'll see you back here again soon. Thanks, y'all. Have a great rest of your Sunday night.